Everybody, and welcome to the show, the basketball edition. I'm Carlos Robledo along with Jake Berry. And Jake, it seems like it's coming towards the end of the basketball season, definitely for the girls. And now for the boys, things are starting to get very, very interesting. Some big games have been taking place across the Rio Grande Valley over the past, 7 days since last time we were on the show here. Big game between Robert Vela and Edinburgh North, McAllen Rowe, McAllen Memorial, Mercedes versus Ed Calchelsa. Edinburgh Economides on the girls' side. So a lot of basketball we talk about. And now we're starting to see now which is the number one team in the Rio Grande Valley, which is going to be that team who's going to win district, and which is going to be that team that's going to go to the Sweet 16 and represent the Rio Grande Valley. And on the boys' side, who's looking good right now?
Well, I mean, if you look at it, you have to be blind not to see this. It's Nicky Rowe. I mean, They're dominating every game that they've been into. I think they beat Weslaco a couple games ago by 50. Yeah. They're not, even though McAllen Memorial was able to stay with them for a while, they pulled away late. And that was a big win from Nicky Rowe because they were undefeated still in the Valley.
Gatling, another big game for him. He was hurt. He came back. And having a chance to see him for the first time, he's a big guy. He's one of those guys that look like he could probably play, middle linebacker for Nicky Rowe if he wanted to. He's a force to be reckoned with, and he can, shoot from the outside. He can drive. He can do just about everything.
Yeah, and he's part of that great Gatling lineage, Manny Gatling, Cameron Gatling, Southern Miss or Old Miss, one of the two misses, one of the misses. There's great athletes in that family. He's just stuck to basketball, and it's proved to be pretty productive for him.
All right, so McAllen Rowe, they've been pretty much the number one team in the Rio Grande Valley. Whether you're reading the newspaper, whether you're online looking at our site, 956sports.com, McAllen Rowe has just been on a tear this week. They were in a close game against McAllen Memorial on Tuesday night. Let's see what happened in that game. Rowe with a challenging game against McAllen Memorial early on in this game. Chris Gatling with the three-pointer right there. Now Memorial on the other end. That's David Johnson, and he scores for the Mustangs. Watch Gatling there on the baseline. He shoots that one. And a good game for Rowe. It was close, but they pulled away in the end, winning by a final score of 58-43.
Well, I saw some emotion there from JoJo, and I just told my kids that I needed to see the same emotion from everybody, not just JoJo, but everybody at the same time. And there in the last, 2-3 minutes left in the third quarter, they showed all that energy that we were. I don't know if we were saving it for then or what, but they responded well, and they played as a team again, and that's the type of team that they are. I think Memorial played a good game. They played everything they had, and our kids responded well. We needed something like this to make sure that hey, anytime at any place anybody can challenge you, and I think our kids responded well against the challenge, and they gave us a win.
I mean, we can play until the very end. We did get a little rowdy in the beginning. I mean, our defense wasn't as good as we thought we were, but it shows that we can play with anyone really. I think our defense is what really provides our offense. That's one thing that coach preaches. Defense wins games, and I showed it today in this game, definitely.
All right, so another big game for McAllen Rowe. 27-1 on the season for the McAllen Rowe Warriors. They certainly do look like the number one team in the Rio Grande Valley. All right, let's move on now to a game that took place on Wednesday night. First of all, what happened to the Edinburgh School District? It was cold. There was possible sleet and snow that was going to take place, and the Edinburgh School District decided to, hey, let's go ahead and call the games off, and they played on Wednesday night instead.
Yeah, on Tuesday it was the rest of the valley was fine, but Edinburgh seemed to be in a blizzard as far as in the mind of administrators. But they actually scheduled all the games, and both Edinburgh or all 4 Edinburgh schools were going to play each other anyways.
Sure.
They just moved it a day to Wednesday.
Well, it was not such a bad idea because what happened is you kind of had the spotlight on the big game, of those 4 schools, Edinburgh North versus Robert Vela High School. This game taking place at Edinburgh North High School. We got a chance to do the game live on 956sports.com. A good game once again. You got those brothers out there that continue to do it. Lico and Brian Beltran, those guys seem to do it. Garza inside the middle for Edinburgh North, and if McAllen Rowe is the number 1 team, maybe Sherryland, because Sherryland beat Edinburgh North, but Edinburgh North definitely one of those top 3 teams in the Rio Grande Valley.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And when the Beltran brothers are shooting the rock, right? It's hard to match up with them because they have a lot of scores. They put 5 scores out there at one time.
Yeah, so Edinburgh North was able to beat Vela High School second time in the district. Robert Vela now with 3 district losses. They have lost 2 to Edinburgh North and now 1 to Donna. They look like they're going to go into the playoffs. As far as the district championship is concerned, Sherryland beat Edinburgh North, but they're going to play against each other in Sherryland. That should be a great game.
Yeah, and Sherryland doesn't have an easy road. They've got to beat Vela, and they also have to beat Edinburgh North to lock up that number 1 spot. So it's going to be a difficult matchup for them. They've got 2 tough games. Edinburgh North gets to finish, I don't want to say with an easier game, but they get to focus on Sherryland, which is tomorrow.
All right, so it was a game on Wednesday night live on 956sports.com that you had a chance to see. Let's go back and take a look at those highlights between Edinburgh North and Robert Vela High School. Edinburgh North got off to a quick lead against Robert Vela, thanks in part to Brian Beltran. Watch him hit the jumper right there. He's playing really well in this game. North playing great defense. Joseph Villarreal steals that one, and the easy layup there on the other end. Beltran really made the offense go in the first half. Watch, hits the three-pointer right there. Then again, Beltran hits another three-pointer. He had 16 points in the first half, 22 points for the game. It was 32-17 Cougars at the half. Alex Garza with a big second half, 11 points for him in the game, and North wins by a final score of 61-49. Here's Coach Rudy Garcia and Brian Beltran after the game.
Garza, count it, another 2 points for Alex Garza.
Well, one of the big things was it's a rivalry, of course. And we knew that the Vela's been getting a lot better. We knew that they were going to come over here and fight and do whatever they needed to do, either to get themselves a win and put themselves in position to try to get into the playoffs. So we knew it was going to be an uphill battle. And we pulled out the W. We didn't play as well as we wanted to play, but I guess we played well enough to win for tonight,
I know you had a little bump in the road against Sherryland earlier this year, but other than that, you've pretty much been taking care of business in 35A basketball. How are you keeping your kids focused on that district?
Well, it's kind of, they've kind of been motivated since the very beginning. That was one of their dreams, to try to repeat again, because we won it last year. It's a hard battle. You're dealing with kids, and keeping them focused is one of the biggest things. Sometimes they'll stray off a little bit, and for a while they did, and then we got them back, and they're kind of in the groove again to try to go get it. We've got a big game that we got to go to Sherryland and see what we can do over there.
Certainly tough games between you 2 teams. Is there a big rivalry between Vela and Edinburgh North?
Yeah, well, it's been building up ever since the first round. Just the scuffles and all that comes into play in the game, and I guess it's been building up, the rivalry.
Okay, let's move on now to 32-4A basketball, where the Mercedes Tigers, Rio Grande City, and the Roma Gladiators are all still vying for that number 1 spot for that district championship, and still up for grabs there. Roma has the inside slot right now because they beat Rio Grande City on Friday night. Mercedes beat Ed Couch Elsa, and coming up this Friday, it's going to be Mercedes and Roma at Mercedes, and that's going to be a pretty good game.
Yeah, it's a tough road for Mercedes. To beat Roma, Roma's one of those basketball towns in the valley. They're known for that, not their football, but for their basketball. And it's a hard road, but I think if anybody can do it, it's Coach Steinbrenner's team, because they've been here before. I mean, you got to remember, he had Albert Chavez, and they went pretty deep with Albert. So they're not, new to winning.
No, not at all, and they've been winning a lot of basketball this year. with Steven Chavez. Steven Chavez now, he's one of those players, had a big game against Edcal Chelsea. It was a big win, in fact, for Mercedes versus Edcal Chelsea last week. So, yeah, they got some good players. They have some young players. He graduated 10 seniors, but with a young team, Chavez, one of them, having a great season. And it's going to be a big game against Roma. Roma, like you said, one of those teams. They play good in basketball, swimming, tennis, everything. They haven't made the playoffs in football, but as far as all the other sports are concerned, Roma always doing a good job against any team in 32-4A.
Yeah, most definitely. It's going to be a great matchup. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring in that game.
All right, another team at the Sub-5A division is Hidalgo. We haven't talked much about Hidalgo, but they got 23, 24 wins on the season. Anytime you have over 20 wins in high school basketball, you're a pretty good team.
Yeah, and look, when it comes to basketball, especially in the 3A level, Hidalgo's known to be a team that it's difficult to match up with because they actually have size, a lot of talent, a lot of speed. So what you see out of them is basically it's a status quo for them. They're always pretty good at basketball.
All right, let's take a look at some of those games from this past week. You got Mercedes versus Edcal Chelsea and Hidalgo versus Port Isabel. The Tigers off to a quick start versus Edcal Chelsea. Steven Chavez, the three-pointer there to get the Mercedes off to a great start here against their rival Edcal Chelsea. More Mercedes here, another three-pointer. This is Michael Ovalle. He knocks that one down. The Yellow Jackets, they're known for their three-pointers, and this is Art Ibarra looking for the friendly roll, and he gets it there. Chavez, again, working here. Watch him. On the baseline, can't find anybody, but finally is able to drive that baseline, and he scores right there. Then it's going to be more Steven Chavez. He had an outstanding night for the Tigers, hits the three-pointer, gets right back up there and plays some good defense there. Mercedes was up 30-23 at the half until Edcal Chelsea. This is Ibarra with the three-pointer. Then it's going to be Suarez off of the miss, and he puts that one in. And then Suarez, once again, he had a good night for Edcal Chelsea. He hits the three-pointer, and Edcal Chelsea takes the lead off of the steal right here. This is Giancarlo Capello with the great pass to Ibarra. 38-37, Edcal Chelsea in the third quarter as they do an outstanding job to get back into this basketball game. And then Steven Chavez, watch him here, dribbles, wants to pass it, says, you know what, I'll just shoot the three-pointer. He hits it right there. Chavez, again, he had 25 points in the game, and the Mercedes Tigers, they never lose the lead after that, and they win by a final score of 58-52. Hidalgo and PI, and it was all Hidalgo. This is Matt Dillard inside there, the big man working it for the Pirates. Later on the fast break, watch Frankie Sanchez as he gets the ball right here off the glass. And Hidalgo, they've just been great all season long. One of the top teams in the Rio Grande Valley. They win by a final score of 86-49. All right, so those are the highlights from Mercedes and Hidalgo. And we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk girls basketball, because their season's about to end. The regular season's about to begin. The postseason going to begin for them. And then later on in the show, we're going to talk baseball. That's right. Despite the cold weather, baseball season is here. We'll be right back.
We need to cut a commercial for the Paint Auto Group's Automotive On-Demand program.
Most car dealers have a gorgeous young lady in their commercials.
That's a great idea. We need one too.
Be right back.
She can tell people how to check out all the videos on the makes
And models that the Paint Auto Group has to choose from.
Ta-da!
You have got to be kidding.
Not sure that's what I meant by gorgeous. Shop 24/7 at thepaintautogroup.com.
Regardless.
She will get attention.
All right, and welcome back to the show. Carlos Robledo here along with Jake Berry, sponsored by McDonald's, South Texas College, and Payne Auto Group of the Rio Grande Valley. Moving on to girls basketball now, and the Mercedes Lady Tigers trying to win their first district championship since the mid-'80s. That's right, the Tigers, the Lady Tigers, haven't been able to do it on the court, but it looks like this could be their year. They got a tough game coming up this coming week against Roma, the Lady Gladiators at home. If they win that game, they're the outright district champs.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to see this team, I have firsthand. They're tall. Mm-hmm. They can shoot, and they play great team defense. I mean, they've been playing well all year. I got to see them. They actually beat the program that I'm involved with at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, look, they're a tough team. You don't see this kind of size with the 4A team very often. So they've got and their posts aren't just big; they're mobile. So, I mean, it's a hard matchup for most teams.
Yeah, they can handle the ball. Summer Venthal, you're talking about the height. She's the one that brings a lot of height. She plays multiple sports. She's also on the volleyball team. She's got to run, I don't know, what do you think, Darren? Darren behind the camera, probably 6'2". About 6'2" is what Darren is saying. He had the opportunity to interview her, but she's about 6'2", and that really helps, especially on the girl side. When you have somebody that tall, that really helps in the paint.
Yeah, a 6-foot guard, 6-foot post in the Valley is an anomaly, but to have one that's skilled, it's a great luxury.
All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights. Mercedes, in a close game against EdCal Chelsea, they pulled it off in the fourth quarter and pulled away in the fourth quarter. This is a game that took place last Friday. Let's take a look at those highlights. The Lady Tigers versus the Lady Jackets.
It was a game Mercedes needed against EdCal Chelsea to stay in first place in 32-4A. EdCal Chelsea first here. Jocelyn Palomine, she scores for EdCal Chelsea Yellow Jackets. Then it's Mercedes. Crystal Cardenas dribbles and shoots. Lady Tigers up by 1, 17-16 in the second quarter. Lady Jackets now right back to it. Katrina Capello, the three-pointer, and the score was 20-19. EdCal Chelsea at the half. In the second half, the Lady Tigers start to step up their defense. Anissa Reyes, she scores right there, and then she got hot here in the second half. Watch Reyes once again as she'll get the ball right here off of the turnover, and she goes right back and scores there for Mercedes. Then it's going to be more Reyes one more time. We told you she had an outstanding game, shooting from way downtown, the three-pointer off of the glass. She caught on fire in the third quarter. 15 points for her. Crystal Cardenas with 16 points. Mercedes is now 12-1 in district play as they inch closer to that district championship. Final score, Mercedes 49, EdCal Chelsea 35.
All right, so the Lady Tigers, once again, if they can beat the Roma Lady Gladiators at home on Friday night, they are the district champs in 32-4A girls basketball. Moving on now to 35A basketball, where things are still interesting and nothing has been settled as far as the playoffs are concerned. A big game on Wednesday night, once again, a game that was moved from Tuesday to Wednesday. Robert Vela versus Edinburgh North, and it was Vela that was able to pull away in that game.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is the second win that Edinburgh North that Vela has had over Edinburgh North, and this basically locks up the top spot for Vela. Now, it's going to be interesting what we see right now with Edinburgh North and Sherryland, because Sherryland actually was in a position to actually knock themselves out of the playoffs with another with losses in their last couple games, but they made the playoffs by beating Palmview, and right now it looks like the way we have it is that Donna and Economides could be fighting for that last spot.
All right, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But first, let's go to the highlights and take this look to see what happened between Edinburgh North and Robert Vela High School.
Edinburgh North and Vela girls early on a close game, but Vela goes on a big run to start the second half. Watch Vanessa Perez. She hits that one there. 10 points for her. Then again, she takes another shot right there. Danielle Azubel had a game-high 19 points. There she is. Nice little shot there. And it's 55-41. Robert Vela, Lady Sabercats over Edinburgh North, Lady Cougars.
All right, so a nice win right there for Vela High School over Edinburgh North. Another rivalry game. We're talking about a lot of rivalries that have been taking place during the show here today. Economides versus Edinburgh. That's the program that you're in. You're one of the Edinburgh High School coaches there. What happened between Economides and Edinburgh High School?
Well, what you saw was a very defensive-minded game. It was, I think, 11-10 at the half, which was not something you want to see either in high school basketball. But what we saw in the second half is that Emily Suarez, who I think is probably an MVP candidate for the Valley, a sweetheart also, but she's a killer. She came out and she put up points in the second half, and she led that team. She's a great pick-and-roll guard, too. And what you saw was basically her stepping it up, and her teammates stepped it up, and they dismantled us in the second half.
All right, so let's go ahead and hear from Emily Suarez as they beat Edinburgh High School on Wednesday night.
Well, we knew that this is a big game, and we knew that Edinburgh High was going to come out with a vengeance. You know, we beat them pretty bad last time, but my team stepped it up. My coach made it clear that we needed to win this game. I knew that. I mean, I haven't made playoffs my last 2 years, and I want it so bad. My team wants it bad, and they stepped it up.
Okay, you've got to play Donna and Palmview to end the season,
Yes.
and that's just to have a chance to get into the playoff with
Yes.
Donna. What do you guys have to do to get ready for it?
Well, we have to prepare. I mean, Donna's a great team. Letzi, I mean, she's an awesome player. The teams also step it up. I mean, it's not only Letzi, but we just have to play hard. I always, in practice, I'm like, work hard. That's our number one thing. I believe if everyone gives their 100%, we can make playoffs.
Thank you.
All right, so Edinburgh Economidi with a big win against Edinburgh High School. They got a big game, Jake. It looks like this one's going to be for all the marbles and to go to the playoffs against Donna. You've seen both those teams already. You know, you got Lexi Williams over there in Donna, and now it looks like Emily Suarez is the team leader or one of the go-to girls there at Economides. Who's going to win that game? What's your prediction?
Donna won the first one, but here's the thing. If you're looking at total team, I would say Economides would probably fit that mold better. They've got some great posts, and they got a great guard. But Lexi Williams is hard to match up with. There's a lot of speed there. I guess we're going to see tomorrow, because what happens is if they beat Donna, they still have to beat Palmview on Tuesday, and then they're going to have to play Donna again to get into the playoffs. So it's going to be a tough road for Economides, but I'm ready to see that game. It's going to be great guards, playing against each other. So.
And there's going to be some great games taking place on Friday night. So if the weather's good, hopefully it will be. Go out, support the local teams here in the Rio Grande Valley. Speaking of another big matchup in the Mid-Valley area, Weslaco versus Weslaco East. Weslaco East has only lost one district game all season long, and they lost to Weslaco High School. Of course, everybody knows about Weslaco High School, Laura Van Tilburg and the rest of the team there, Angela Villarreal, Summer Smith, the whole squad just playing incredible basketball. This game is going to be, for Weslaco East, they can win a share of the district championship if they can beat Weslaco High. The game's going to take place at Weslaco. How do you see this game shaping up?
Well, look, I mean, it's going to come down to turnovers. If Weslaco can keep their turnovers down, they win again. If Weslaco East can cause some turnovers and, get out and run, I like their chances if they can do that.
What about emotion in a game like this? Weslaco East is going to come in definitely wanting to beat their sisters across town to win that game. They're going to be playing for a share of the district championship. How much will emotion play in this game?
Well, I think if you're Weslaco, you've been through this before. I mean, look what they did last year. Mm-hmm. If you're Weslaco East, this is a brand new thing for you. I mean, you've won before, on the 4A level and 5A level too last year. But I mean, this is a different beast when you're going against your hometown rival for the district championship. So I think they're going to be a little bit more hyped up than maybe Weslaco.
And talking about top teams in the Rio Grande Valley, you got Weslaco, you got Weslaco East, you have Mercedes. It looks like Weslaco, the girls' Weslaco team, definitely the number one team in the Rio Grande Valley.
Yeah, I would say so also. I mean, I don't want to say the district's the toughest, but I think that Weslaco is the toughest team in the valley. I think if you put them up against anybody right now, they're going to have the advantage, especially in the post, but also at the guard position as well.
Harlingen is also tough. Harlingen South, 32-5A. We haven't talked much about 32-5A, but that's going to be tough because 32-5A plays against 31-5A in the district, so it'll be interesting to see that matchup. And then if it is Weslaco that goes to the Sweet 16, can they match up against the San Antonio schools?
Well, that's a different beast. Because you know what, everybody wants to play well against the San Antonio teams, but you really can't simulate the speed. It's just like football; you can't simulate the speed or the size. So it's a little bit different. I don't know. I don't want to say no, but it's a tough road.
All right, so going back to 3A basketball, this time talking about the girls, and the team really to look out for in 3A basketball is the Rio Hondo Lady Bobcats. And this is a team, Jake, with 22 wins, or 22-8 on the season, and they're on their way to possibly one more win in district, and they're the district champs.
Yeah, I had a chance to see these guys in a scrimmage earlier in the season, and they actually, we're talking about size like Mercedes, they've got comparable size too. For 3A, they actually have some big posts, and mobile posts also. So they've been able to use their height, their speed to dominate their opponents this year.
All right, so for more on the Bobcats, let's hear from the head coach, Robert Jaramillo.
All right, Coach, you girls came out with a great victory tonight. How big a victory was this for you?
Well, it's a big win. Lyford's got a good team. They're in second place in their district, and we've got a couple district games left to go, and we want to get this victory and just keep the momentum going. Finish off our district season.
How is your district season going so far?
It's going good. We're 5-1 in district. We're in first place. We got a couple games left, and we should be okay.
Who's coming up next?
We have Port Isabel. They're pretty good. They've got some size, a little speed on the outside, but I think we should be okay. And then we have Progreso to finish off the season.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay.
All right, going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're talking baseball. That's right. The cold weather is here, but the baseball players are outside getting ready for the season.
Cut a commercial for the Paint Auto Group's Automotive On-Demand program.
Most car dealers have a gorgeous young lady in their commercial.
That's a great idea. We need one too.
Be right back.
She can tell people how to check out all the videos on the makes
and models that the Paint Auto Group has to choose from.
Ta-da!
You have got to be kidding.
Not sure that's what I meant by gorgeous.
Shop 24/7 at thepaintautogroup.com.
Regardless, she will get attention.
All right, welcome back to the show. We call it the basketball edition, but it's actually the spring edition because we're talking baseball now. We're talking about other sports as well. And one of the interesting things is that it was very, very cold this past week, and baseball season started. It was time for the kids to go out there on the diamond, and they were able to get out there. And who are the teams to look out for this year? It's going to be a little different this year because in Sherryland, no more Bart Bickerton and no more Tres Barrera either.
Yeah. And they've had some kids, leave the program, and so one of the players is Joey Esquivel, who's now at Edinburgh North. He'll be the first baseman over there, I think, or DH. And so you have to think Edinburgh North is going to probably be the front runner to be the favorites over there in 35A. But you got teams like there's going to be a team from Brownsville. I'm not sure which one yet. Sure. We're going to have our preview with Tony Leal from Harlingen South in a couple weeks. But what you're looking at right now is, there are a number of teams. I want to see if Hidalgo is as strong because I've heard they picked up some kids from Sherryland that might have left the program. I think PSJ is always a perennial front runner in their district. Mackay, Memorial, Nicky Rowe for sure. Mm-hmm. They put up good season in the last couple of years. So I think there's going to be a number of great teams from the 32-5 area, sure. But we're not sure yet because Coach Leal hasn't given us his picks yet.
Exactly, and Coach Leal, part of the 956 Sports crew, we thank him for that. Softball as well. We'll be covering softball for you. It'll be interesting to see. I know Summer Smith, one of the top pitchers in the Rio Grande Valley, to her senior year for Weslaco High School. I know she tweaked her ankle. Hopefully she'll be back for the softball season. And then San Benito, they made that great run to the state tournament last year, and so they have 7 players coming back. So, anytime you have that that many players coming back, you know San Benito is going to make a run of that tournament again for girls softball.
Yeah, and they put together a nice batch, a 4-year batch right here,
Sure.
And they're pretty much our perennial power every year,
Yes.
don't you think?
Well, one thing about San Benito softball, and I know this because my daughter played softball growing up, and every year, whether it was T-ball or it was the coach pitch or then regular girls pitch, they were always good. So they start them off early in San Benito, and it works all the way up to the high school level. But let's move back to baseball now, and another team that's always good in baseball, and they're coming from 35A, are the La Jolla Coyotes. And this is a team that last year made a little run. They were behind Sherryland, of course, in the district, but they made a little run there in the playoffs. And Jonathan Salinas takes a look at this team.
Not even the recent frozen temperatures can keep the La Jolla Coyotes off the diamond, as they've bundled up in layers in preparation for their 2014 debut. And after finishing second in the always difficult 35A, the expectations are higher than ever.
How can we improve? Well, hopefully we can exceed that expectation of every year we try to play. One of our goals is to win the district championship, also win 20 games and go deep in the playoffs. Last year I think we started gelling in time, and fortunately we had a great season. I had a good nucleus of young men returning. We're hoping that these young men rise to the occasion, and their experience can be just demonstrated on the field.
Two of the key players the Coyotes will be relying on heavily this year comes in the form of a pitch-and-catch duo in sophomore Anibal Leal and senior Esteban Chapa.
My expectations are high for me and my team, right? Last year we went pretty far. This year I expect a lot more. We've had more experience with the higher teams, right? And we expect a lot more. Everybody's pretty good in this team. We're all decent. I see we can go pretty far, 3-4 rounds into the playoffs or district champs.
Oh no, we should win district champs. Like, if we don't, it's on us. That's one thing I've told them all year and I've held them accountable for is every game, play your hardest, get out there, every pitch, stay concentration all the way, and really we should make it 4 or 5 rounds deep in the playoffs. That's what I expect, and that's what we can be able to do.
All right, so thank you very much, Jonathan, and good luck to La Jolla and the baseball team over there. Okay, a little programming note. We did this 2 years ago. We went live from Region 1 in Edinburgh for the district realignment. That's going to take place on Monday, the day after the Super Bowl. We'll be live in Edinburgh to go ahead and cover the realignment. What are you expecting out of that?
Well, there's a little hiccup the other day with Vela staying 5A. Now, they're not going to move up with the other Edinburgh schools to 6A. So what I'm hearing from Carl Padilla with the Padilla poll is that 35A actually, or the district that Edinburgh will be in, will only feature the 3 Edinburgh schools, the 2 FARs, and 2 Westicos. Wow. So, but it will be a nice power district, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll have live coverage of that. Of course, it's always interesting because not only do they realign the districts, but also the non-district schedule is also set. So we'll be making those announcements as well as all the coaches get together and athletic directors from across the Rio Grande Valley there at Region 1. We'll be there, Jake Berry and I, and we'll have the rest of the crew of 956 Sports there to cover this. It'll be interesting and it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll look forward to that. Your prediction for the Super Bowl, Jake. Let's go ahead since everyone else is making predictions. Seattle or Denver?
I think the Cowboys are going to do it this year. No, you know what? I think it's going to be Seattle. I'm hoping it's going to be Seattle. I'd like to see them. I like to see them win because Richard Sherman is very humble, low key.
Absolutely.
I like him.
Yeah, he's a quiet guy, and he deserves to win most definitely. Yeah. But I'm picking Seattle as well. I think Denver's going to win it. That's my prediction, but I'm going to be pulling for Seattle. There's a lot of Texas guys that are on that team, so kind of pulling for the guys from Texas, some Aggies that are on that team. So pulling for Seattle. And, of course, Darren Henderson, probably the only true Seattle fan, one of our photogs here at 956sports.com. He's followed Seattle since 1976 or something like that when they came into the league. So we're pulling for Seattle here at 956sports.com. All right, well, that's it. That's the show. I'd like to thank our sponsors once again, McDonald's, Payne Auto Group of the Rio Grande Valley, and South Texas College. For Jake Berry, I'm Carlos Robledo. Have a good one, everybody.